Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Money in the Law here on My FM 101.3 with Jay Marsden from the Marsden Law Group, and I'm John Drohan from Main Effort Financial. We're also joined by Christian Bidet from the Holliston Cable Access TV.
Wow, that was very formal.
It was very professional. I think
my
professional
bad.
is the word you were
bad.
looking
All right,
for.
My bad.
And right, and every show gets a little bit more professional, or does it?
So
I'm not sure.
over this substantial period of time, we've brought a modicum of professionalism to the show. So we must have. How deep a hole were we in when we started?
I hate to tell you this, but do you know how long we've been on the air?
I do. I do. How many years? How long? How many years?
5 years.
Yes,
It's
years.
5+ years.
Yes.
5 years ago, somebody came up with this cockamamie idea.
This
right?
madcap
and
idea.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And here we are on not only on My FM, the arguably the greatest radio station in the history of the FM airwaves.
Yeah, sure.
But we're also on Holliston Cable Access TV, which I enjoy equally as much.
And you know, when you stated a second ago how great the radio show was and what type of legendary accomplishments we've already achieved, you know who didn't giggle and yell and laugh at that comment? The entire UN General Assembly.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Absolutely amazing.
That's
Absolutely
right.
amazing.
They didn't blink.
Yeah,
They
with
were
authority.
just-
Yeah,
they
with
nodded.
authority. That's
They
great. They nodded in agreement.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Roll the tape back. I want to make sure that
Run that
I
back.
did say that.
Run that back. So, how was your Celebrate Holliston?
Celebrate Holliston was fantastic. I was fortunate that two of my children were actually big participants in Celebrate Holliston.
Makes the day go by. Yeah.
They were actually part of the Fisk's General Store support team, and
nice.
They were the superheroes, so they got a lot of pictures. They provided security for the two princesses that were in the Fisk's pickup
big.
truck
Yep,
float.
that's big.
So I was there in the beginning, and of course, as I was watching the parade begin, and usually, of course, all the dignitaries are up front. As I see walking by two dignitaries who were selectmen here in the town of Holliston, and I just felt there was this empty feeling.
A void.
And I was like, where is number 3? Where's your buddy? And then I remembered, of course, that you had a religious
We
engagement.
were equally buttoned up on the religious side of the
which was
aisle.
the only, and we all agreed. John Cronin and I agreed that that was the only excuse that was going to be accepted.
Oh, of course, that's cool. Well, that's you take it up with God if you're going to address that. I'll tell you what's funny. So there were so many kids making their confirmation over the weekend that the concern from the Celebrate Holliston folks was that it took up all their volunteers, right? All their volunteers, because if you weren't making your confirmation, you were in somebody's family who was making their confirmation, and so your volunteer opportunities became slim as the day progressed, because you really couldn't escape to do all that, depending on your game plan.
It looked like that it was they had enough volunteers. It seemed like everything was running as smoothly as usual. Beautiful day.
Yes.
So it was Holliston Cable Access TV had a great booth. They were putting people on TV. I actually, during the parade, I actually was standing there, and of course, who's standing next to me doesn't realize that it's me, is none other than Christian Bidet.
Wow,
our Holliston
so
Cable
engaged,
Access
so
TV.
engrossed in his work.
He was working. And I'm like, hey,
course.
hey. And I had to smack him, and I'm like, hey. And he's like, oh, hey, well, I didn't even see you there.
Like most great men, men or women behind the camera, they're so engaged in their work. Was he doing did he have his hands up? Was he doing like was he doing that whole thing? And
it's his craft.
Scoping out the scene.
So, we were just saying before the show started, I had a revelation over this past weekend, because, of course, this is the fall season of Old Man Softball. I know one of your favorite sports, which is the Holliston Old Man Senior Softball League.
Yeah.
And and I think he probably is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the Senior Softball League, is none other than my friend Keith. He plays for Brentwood. He's one of the mainstays of the team, Brentwood.
Yeah.
And so we had played him in the game, and after the game, he comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, John." I go, "Hey, Keith, how you doing?" And he said, "I want to thank you for for taking care of my son." And I'm like, "And your son is?" And then he goes, in the show, and I go, "What? One more time?" And he goes, "My son Christian." And I'm like, wait a minute. And it dawned on me that I didn't know what Keith's last name was.
It's just like one of those scenes in the movie where all of a sudden it was like an immediate flashback and everything all of a sudden made sense. You know, they throw 100 images at you.
That's right. That's
right. And then you're like, oh, now it all makes sense.
And like RPM music.
Yep.
And there you go. Right. And then so as I'm looking, I'm like, of course Christian is your son because you guys look exactly alike.
That's true. That's true.
So a big shout out to Keith Bidet. If I'm voting, a first ballot Senior Softball League Hall of Famer, and Christian's dad.
Yeah, so there you go.
So we talked a little bit about Christian about behind his back. So I can't really talk about it on the air. He's a pretty good kid, and he works hard. He does a great job with the show. Don't earmuffs, right? Well, he's wearing earmuffs, so he probably can't hear.
It's a steam destroying time. That's right.
Yeah, so our guy Christian, who and dad, great guy too.
There you go. Good stuff. So what are we talking about today? What's on your mind?
I don't know.
On the money side of the aisle. We talked about the law last week. Very exciting. What's on the money side? What are you thinking about?
Well, one of the things, and this is we're gonna bring back an old favorite topic.
An old friend. Bring an old friend back.
And I want to talk about, because they're getting a lot of press, a lot of real world, frontline press these days. Not in a bad way. But there's an advertising campaign that's kind of getting pushed out for annuities. Annuities, the A word. We talked about it. And we talked about them. We mentioned this several times on the show. So all of you dedicated listeners who've been listening over the past 5+ years, every week, this is going to be a review for you. And
by the way, before we always have to do our disclaimer, okay? To all of our colleagues, friends, contemporaries in the insurance world, who we like to have a fair bit of fun with at your expense. First thing we want to say is we have nothing but love for insurance, right?
I love insurance.
It has its place. It has its role in the planning process. But at the same time, we do like to poke fun at it for all the obvious reasons. So let's keep that in there as well. Just again, as you're listening, if you're in the business, we love you.
It could happen.
We love you.
And
we love you.
And in all seriousness, though, there's a place, as you said, there's a place for it. There's a place for annuities. There's a place for insurance products. Yep. And I think what happens is in the whole financial planning industry and the whole financial planning kind of universe, the idea of like service and fiduciary responsibility and guidance, and that kind of gets confused with product, right? So then when you're like, well, if I'm providing financial advisement, fiduciary advisement, and I mentioned a product, then it's like, whoa, wait a minute, you can't do both of those. You can't have a product and be a fiduciary, because you're going to get paid a commission on that product. And so what happens is, like in the press, people will start to talk about, well, hey, you know what? If they're starting to push a product on you, then you know what? You're getting
run away. Run away. That's right. There's some ulterior motive out there.
Right. That's right. Like they're not acting in your best interest at this time.
That's right.
And that couldn't be farther from the truth in many cases, because a lot of, and I'll go out to say probably the majority of people who sell like these types of insurance products they're doing the right thing. Like they're out there. They understand that in the long run for them, if they're going to take somebody to the cleaners, or they're going to rip somebody off, or they're going to have somebody buy something that isn't necessarily designed in their best interest, then that's going to turn around and it's going to bite them sometime down the road.
Well, and to your point, our joking, if you will, about the role that insurance products play in a portfolio or in somebody's planning situation, has always been that the situations that we've always found the most comical is when that's the only solution presented, right? And presented in such a way that there is no other possible conceivable solution other than this one that we're putting on the table. Right. And to your point, the people who work in the industry who are great at what they do, they recognize that, look, I have a solution. My solution is very specific to a particular aspect of somebody's planning situation, and that's my role, right? My role is to offer this solution, and then there's other ones that I'm not either hip to or privy to, or I don't play in that space.
Or I'm not licensed to
sell. That's right. So my solution is this. It's life insurance, it's annuities, it's this, it's that. That's my role in the process. There's other people out there doing planning. There's other people doing other aspects of this. This is not the only thing that I offer. And those are the ones that we always say, look, those are the people that we've worked with and worked successfully with, who say, look, we have a solution. if you have clients that have this problem, we can fix it. But we're not going to shoehorn this solution into other things where it really doesn't work.
Yeah, if you have if you every situation, and that's the other thing. Everybody's is unique. Every every case is unique, if you will. So when somebody's presented with, okay, here's where I want to get to, right? Here, I'm here, I want to get to here. So I want to get to here. How do I get here? What are some of the things that I can do in order to get here? So if you're talking to a salesperson, then like you said, here's a solution. Here's a way I can get you from here to there. And because I sell this, and because I sell it because I believe in it, then
that's right.
Because I really feel strongly about this product that I'm selling you, I'm going to make it sound good, and it's my job. It's my job.
Absolutely.
Like I get paid by the company that I work for. If I work for an insurance company, this is how I get paid. I get paid to sell said product, right? And I get paid in order to. I'm here to solve problems, but I'm here to sell products. So that's. And if you understand that as a consumer, if you understand that and you say, okay, I get it. And we've all been sold things, right? We've been sold cars, we've been sold houses, we've been sold, lawn service, we've been sold, a new garage door, everything.
Right. But you usually sold stuff because you have a problem. You have a problem that needs a solution, right? So if you need, if you need a new garage door and you go to, the Weston Garden Center, well, they're not going to help you out, right? They're not going to sell you a garage door. Now, if they try to solve you a couple of hydrangeas or a couple
you could plant these hydrangeas in your driveway.
That's right. If you put them in front of the garage door, all right, that's a problem. That's a different story, right?
We're going to use a different solution.
That's right. That's right.
So
it's a different
approach.
May
not be what you're looking for.
You get a flat tire, you pull into a brake place, they fix your brakes. That doesn't help you out. That doesn't help you out. So the idea is they have their place. You have a problem. You have a solution. That solution may be well served by some type of insurance product because it makes sense. But our concern is always just to make sure that we're not fixing a problem that we don't necessarily have.
So I want to talk about kind of the basics, kind of the fundamentals of annuities.
Back to the basics.
We'll so people understand it, because you're going to start seeing things on TV. Like there's, we just kind of, we get kind of the inside, track that there's going to be, this company is going to be, doing some commercials during, these sporting events. So you're going to start seeing, like, kind of these advertisements about annuities. And make no mistake about it, annuities are for their purpose, they do a very good job.
They're very good at what they do.
They're very good at but you have to kind of understand what you're getting yourself into, and you have to understand that with the good things, there's going to be, and I don't want to say bad things, but there's going to be limitations.
It's trade-offs. Yes, trade-offs.
There's going to be some trade-offs. So we're going to go into the details of that. We're probably going to talk about some other, probably some TV shows that we've been watching.
Nice.
We're probably going to talk about
Scotch.
We could talk about Scotch and other type of.
I'm just saying. I'm just spitballing. I'm just throwing things out there.
And just maybe we may throw something in about the law or legal matters or something Jay did that's exciting.
That's fine.
Either way,
all right.
No matter what, we'll be right back because we're going to take a quick break. We'll do this all on the other side of the break. On the other side.
On the other side of the break. After the break. Is that what that means? After the break.
Okay. I do know what that means.
All right, let's go to the break.
Ready? Take me to the break.
All right, go to the break. All right, you're listening to Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay
I didn't
Marsden,
want to do all the
Marsden
talking
Law Group,
like you do.
John Droham, Man Effort Financial.
Watch your
Christian,
levels.
Man in the Con. We're watching our levels here, and we're back in 2 seconds. And you're back. Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group, John Droham, Man Effort Financial. I like to keep you on your toes by just jumping back into it and make sure you know what's going on.
Well, I was just enjoying the advertisement commercials.
Nice. The quiet, the peace and quiet. Catch your breath. So talking annuities before the break, we were talking about how much we love them and how much we know that they have a place in a particular aspect of your portfolio. How we don't use them for everything, but they have a role, and they do what they do very well.
They do what they do.
They do what they do. So just for those who have a sort of a somewhat working knowledge of an annuity, just by definition, basically it's a contract, right?
Yeah, it's an insurance product, right?
Yep.
So it's an insurance product, but you're right, it's a contract, and all that contract is that, so you give the insurance company a certain amount of money, whether you give it to them over time or whether you give it to them in one lump sum. And then in its truest form, what the insurance company, the annuity part of it, is that the insurance company takes that money and they say thank you. and then the insurance company goes and they use that money for whatever they need to run their business, whether they pay dividends, whether they pay salaries, whatever
they invest it, they buy buildings, whatever they do with it.
So and then in return, they promise to give you a certain a payout, if you will, a distribution of this over a period of time, and it could be over a fixed period of time, it could be over a lifetime, it could be over, it could be in different kinds of different nomenclatures. If you were like monthly, it could be yearly, it could be quarterly, but that's the true annuitization. So if I give $100,000 to an insurance company, and then they take and I buy an annuity, and then that annuity becomes annuitized.
Ooh,
that's
okay.
the verb,
exciting,
right?
Verb,
Meaning,
yeah.
so what that means is that now no longer that $100,000 no longer exists. It's not mine anymore. It belongs to the insurance company. It's gone, and in return, I have this guaranteed income for my lifetime, or for my lifetime over a period of time.
And you can set up certain rules around how that money is used, when that money is used, when that annuitization period starts, right? When do I start getting my money? Do I want to get my money right away? Do I want to get my money at some point down the road? Is my money going to sit, on the sideline? Is it going to earn some money while I'm waiting to get my money back? I mean, there are lots of bells and whistles, if you will, or lots of options that you can build into some of these things. Some things you pay for, some of them just a feature of the contract. But the idea is, depending on what your scenario is, you can come at it from a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah. So you have that's kind of the truest sense of, and when in the industry we've always just kind of compared annuities to Social Security, where Social Security is kind of like the biggest annuity, in the history of annuities, right?
Wow.
So in other words, for all these years, all the working class people have been paying into Social Security. And in return, once we hit a certain age, then Social Security will then pay us a lifetime income. So that's kind of the most generic, vanilla,
right.
description of what an annuity is. Now, you mentioned there are dozens and dozens and dozens of different types of annuities and different types of contracts, and everyone has like a different kind of bell and whistle, and they have these riders, and they have these income promises, and they have the different features. Like you said, you mentioned some different investment features, some different ways to earn money. So we're going to talk about kind of the basics of two different types of annuities, two different kind of categories of annuities. One is a deferred annuity, and the other is an immediate annuity.
Okay.
Right? So we'll start with the easy one first, the immediate annuity. And here's the other piece of this. Annuities, for the most part, are retirement vehicles, right? So they're retirement contracts. So there's some retirement rules that go along with annuities, in the sense that if I have a deferred annuity, I was going to talk about immediate, but if I have a deferred annuity, then I'm not going to take money out of that right away.
Yeah, there's an accumulation phase on the beginning of this thing, right?
Right.
Or there's a growth period, or there's some type of...
Right, but I'm subject to the standard IRA rules, in that I can't start taking that money before I turn age 59 and a half, because that's my it's a retirement vehicle. So that's an important thing to understand.
Well, and the theory being that the government, Uncle Sam, is saying, if you put use your $100,000 example, you put $100,000 in this deferred annuity, we'll hold off on the taxes, right? So
that's the big reason.
That's
right.
That's
right. One of the main reasons why we'll buy an annuity is because I'm going to defer my gains, right? I'm going to defer paying taxes on my gains.
And then when you start at some point down the road taking them out, and then to your point, you're subject to the Fed. The Feds are going to tell you, here's the rules now for when you can take this money out, 59 and a half, and that way, the theory is we'll let you defer the taxes. The taxes can grow as you sort of accumulate money, and then sort of along the lines, often compared, but not to be confused with the IRA rules and what you're going to do on an IRA. But
Correct.
For purposes of understanding it, that's where a lot of it comes from.
Right. That was well said. By the way.
I get that a lot. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were trained. You were trained at a small, tiny little boutique mutual fund company.
Small boutique mutual fund company in the city. That's right. That's right.
Can you imagine if you weren't? Can you imagine how bored you would be if we, like, on the money side, like, you would just tune out. You'd like turn around. You'd like get on your phone. You'd probably bring your computer and start typing. You wouldn't.
I'd be checking emails right now. I'd be getting some work to billing somebody right now.
I'm so glad that you've had that training. All right, so back to the immediate annuity. So all an immediate annuity is that, okay, we talked about I give money to the insurance company and then immediately meaning like within the next couple weeks or a month,
whatever it is, yeah.
Then the insurance company is now going to say, all right, we're going to start your payout. We're going to start your guaranteed payout. And so I give $100,000, and then now based on and all the insurance companies, everything is based off of the life expectancy table, right? It's like the insurance company knows how long you're going to live, or at least statistically.
They get a pretty good idea. They don't get it wrong a lot.
Right, and that's an important thing to understand about insurance companies, that they don't do the things by accident. They don't guess. They don't say, oh well, you know what, you look like you're a pretty healthy guy. We're going to go ahead and give you and extend this out further because we think you're probably going to live longer than the statistics say. No.
Well, think about it, right? Think about it. You walk in, you write the annuity company or the insurance company check for $100,000, right? And you're 61 years old or you're 60 years old, and the insurance company is going to say, all right, you want money? We'll give you money. Now, in many cases, they're going to say, we'll give you money, but you got to pick, right? Yeah. So you want that immediate annuity, or talk about that for a second? You got to pick. How long do you want the money, right? Do you want us to give you back the money in 10 years, right? And then just do the math, right? 10 years into $100,000, they can give you back $10,000 a year, right?
Well, but there's also going to be an interest rate, right? You're going to have some gains,
internal, right? That's right. Some internal rate of return. You want the money back over 15 years? Then that's fine. Then let's do the math, right? Same thing. If you want it, this is where the insurance companies are really good. You say, I want it over my lifetime.
I want it forever.
I want it over my lifetime,
forever.
Right? Insurance company goes, yeah, now we're talking, right? Let's roll up the sleeves, put the visors on, get the pencils out.
Get my abacus out, right?
Sharpen this thing up, and then they're going to say, okay, this guy's 60 years old. What's his life expectancy, right? Because what do they want to know? They want to know how much money they're going to pay out. And here's how much they're okay paying out. They're okay paying out $100.
Right.
Because you gave them $100, they're okay paying. What they don't want to pay out is $101.
Yeah.
Right? And they definitely don't want to pay out $200, right? So they're going to play a game, right? The game is going to be how do we figure out how much to give you over your life expectancy. And if they think that you've got 74 years on the table, then you might have 14 years of payments coming your way. Right. That's it. That's how they do it.
Well, it's their bet, right? So they're betting. They're saying, okay, we think based on our data, and it's not like for annuities they do a physical or anything like that. They don't care about the individual.
It's not life insurance. It's not life insurance.
No, make no mistake about it. So all they're saying is they're basing it on their statistical information that a 60-year-old man, and that's it. 60-year-old man, and they don't even, again, there's no physical, there's no physical check. 60-year-old man, you're expected to live to age, say, 82, right? So that's most people guys live to, so their computation of how they're going to distribute that $100,000 plus the interest rate that they promised you is going to happen over a period of to age 82. Now, what their bet is that you're going to live to 82, or you're going to die before then, right?
That's right.
And your bet is that, or everybody's bet is, you hope you outrun it. You hope I hope I live
92
till I'm 106 or 110, right? So the insurance company, like if they're going to pay you, let's call it $100 a month or whatever they make the number up, say it's $100 a month for the rest of your life, then if you live past that life expectancy of 82, then guess what? Now you're in the green. And and the insurance company knows this. They have statistics of, okay, there's a percentage of people that are going to outlive the life expectancy.
That's right.
And you know what? All of their numbers and all of their calculations are based on, they're like, okay, we can afford to have 10% or 15% of the people live beyond their life expectancy. We can't afford to have 40% of the people live beyond their life expectancy, because at that point we're going to be in the red. So you know what they do? They change the life expectancy. They say, wait.
That's where these tables that they always refer to. So to your point, they don't do the physical piece of it, but they go back and they say, based on all the data, right? And we're in big data world now. They collect all that data and they go, okay, based on everything we've learned, these tables are getting updated, because you know what? A 60-year-old man is living to 83 now, not 82 or 82 and a half or whatever that number looks like. And then somebody who comes in behind you and writes and says to the annuity company, I'm going to give you $100,000. I want the same deal that John got. The answer is no. You get whatever deal is on the table right now, because it's different, right? Because your life expectancy is different, because the tables are different, because the calculations tell
everything changed.
That this is different, right? This is different.
I mean, and this is all fascinating stuff, and I'm sure that like everybody cares about how the insurance company.
Go ahead. I have something. I'll wait till you finish. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. Everybody cares about what the insurance company is going to, like how they figure all that stuff out. The bottom line is, when if you want to get the most money that you can, right? You want to get the highest payout, and that's going to be driven by the life expectancy table. It's going to be driven by the interest rate. It's going to be, because, like we said, there's hundreds of different types of annuities. So one insurance company may say, well, we'll give you a 3% return on your money, and another company may say, well, we'll give you 4%. You're like, whoa, what would I rather have, 3% or 4%, right? So so you as the consumer, the reason that you're going to buy an annuity, and there's several different reasons, but the primary reason is you want to have some form of income. You want to have an income from this money. Now, we're going to talk about some different ways you can take income, but at the end of the day, the reason somebody buys an annuity, or the reason they should buy an annuity, is because you want at some point to transfer that lump sum of money into an income stream that is guaranteed by the insurance company.
Well, you were racing to it, and you got there without me even having to lead you down that path.
Thank you.
And that's what I wanted to highlight.
But it's just because
the lawyer in me has to say, right? The big words, the big words giveth, and the little words take away, right?
I love
so the
that
big
kind of
words.
talk.
So the big words are, here's your payout. Here's what we're going to give you. Here's the amount of money that we're going to pay you, right? And then the little words come marching in, and the little words say, and all these payments are subject to the claims paying ability of the life insurance company.
There you go.
And what that means is, if you're into, there's always, so insurance companies always, the logos are always like gigantic animals or sailing,
something to do with
something
America.
nautical,
Yeah,
something to do with red, white, and blue, and you're,
country.
I'll tell you that, once you sign this paperwork, an American
you're
eagle,
more American.
An American eagle is going to deliver this policy to your house. It's going to swoop in, and it's going to, and you'll hear the Star Spangled Banner, and that's right. The eagle will drop off your policy with a hat, with a red, white, and blue hat, and then it'll be wrapped in an American flag. Dressed as Uncle Sam. That's crazy, right?
That American Eagle will have an Uncle Sam face and beard and hat on.
That's right. It'll fly like Apollo Creed, dropping off the policy.
That's right.
But those payments that you get are only as good as the company who promised to make them. Right. So if something happens, and it does happen in the industry, insurance companies do get in trouble from time to time, and things happen. Then what tends to happen is, that's where you start to worry about, who am I give my money to, right? And that's where insurance company ratings and annuity ratings and things like that, that's where bigger is better, So to your point, you used the example of 3%, 4%. Well, somebody might come in and say, geez, but 4% is more than 3, right? Isn't 4 better than 3? Well, it is, but you got to look at the companies. And if the 4% company is a smaller, lesser known company that doesn't have maybe as much from a capital on the books perspective, might be a smaller company, you might be taking a little bit more of a chance. Now, does that mean that, from an industry perspective, remember the industry, the entire insurance industry is based on the idea that people feel like it's a contract and it's trusted, and here comes the eagle with the, wrapped up in the flag, and everything's great.
And America. It's about America.
And so it's great. So that's great. So they're going to do everything they can to kind of keep that idea going. In many cases, when these insurance companies do have some issues, other insurance companies will say, you know what, in the interest of keeping the trust, we're gonna buy that company. We're gonna square everybody up. We're gonna make sure that everybody feels good about it, because obviously they have a vested interest in making sure that everybody understands that planning concept is a solid planning concept with a real foundation behind it.
That's true.
That's the idea. So you're gonna kind of work that into the system a little bit to say, let's make sure we understand what's going on here.
So as the prosecuting attorney just said, let me translate that for you, because he hit the nail right on the head, but he was hitting it so hard with his hammer. So all he's saying is that if an insurance if you go with a lesser known insurance company, as with any company, right? American International Group almost went belly up were it not for the federal government. They were the largest insurance company in the world. So at any time, any company could go out of business. They could go bankrupt because of whatever.
Any number of things.
Right? So if you go with a lesser known insurance company, you run the risk that insurance company may not have the capability to pay out to pay their claims, right? Or to pay their in this case it's an annuity payment. And all Jay was saying is that that sometimes that because bigger companies, because the industry likes, and I'm repeating this because it's so important. Bigger companies, the insurance industry, they want to keep it all going.
Oh yeah.
They want to say, hey, this is we want this good. So and we've seen this. I've seen this, in 20 years, I've seen it at least 6 or 7 times where the smaller company, they go out of business. Bigger company says, all right, good news and bad news. Young American insurance company, right?
Yes, that's right.
The good news is that we're going to buy up all your contracts and we're going to continue to pay out all your contracts. The bad news is all you jokers that were running this show, you're all fired.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. You're right. That's right. That's right. You're right. And then you get a letter in the mail that says your company has been absorbed or merged. Or
how many people? How many people have seen that where you've bought an insurance policy or an annuity, years and years ago, and it's changed names 3 times.
We see it all the time, especially on the probate side. People come in and they'll say to me, my mother and father or somebody, they had 11 insurance companies, right? They had 11 insurance policies, and they've added up all the money, right? And the total sum of the money is $8.7 million of life insurance, right? And then what they forget to do is they forget to go back and look at the policy number, which is consistent from policy A to policy B to policy C. So it was Joe Blow Mutual, right, 78 years ago.
Why wouldn't I put my money with Joe Blow Mutual?
Right, which is why Joe, why? Because 78 years ago, from the industry, because Joe came and knocked on the door, sold you the policy, and then came back every single month after that to collect your premiums.
That's right.
So now Joe Blow has since been merged 11 times, and now it's Mutual of Omaha, or SBLI, or John Hancock, or pick some other, Manulife, pick any organization. So now you got one policy, but you've had to drag this thing all along. So that's what happens.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, Dad doesn't have $8.7 million.
Nope, it's $8,000, and it was burial insurance, and just to put him in the ground. That's it. So the multiplier does not kick in. So let's take a quick break, because I want to come back after the break and talk about something related to something that you mentioned earlier.
So we'll take a quick break, and then you're going to talk about something when we come back.
Let's take a quick break, and then I'll talk.
Right. I like the idea of me translating for you today. I don't know why I feel like I need to. I just feel like you're going maybe you're going too fast for me.
But somebody needs to slow down.
All right. You're listening to Money and Law with Jay Marsden, John Drawin, My FM 101.3, Hollis Cable Access TV. We will be right back.
And we're back. Money and Law, My FM 101.3, Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group, John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Here talking about I don't even know where it falls on the list. We have so many favorite topics.
This one today is new. This one today is new.
It's very exciting. Here's, as much as we like to have some fun with our brethren in the insurance industry, you're talking about immediate annuities right now. Here, you mentioned it earlier, and here's where I love them, all right? Here's where I love them. I love them when you talk to people about the concept of using them, because in this day and age, there's only a handful of places that you can go where somebody says to you, oh, well, and then I got a pension, right? Then I got a pension, right? And when people say that, that emoji that shows up on your phone that's got instead of eyes, it's got hearts for eyes, and they might even throb a little bit. Every once in a while, when you're talking planning with folks and somebody mentions that they have an annuity, they have a pension, either the person who says it, that's what happens. It's like their face turns into that emoji, and their eyes bulge with the hearts. Or they smile, and like a twinkle, like a star twinkle comes from one of their shiny teeth. And people sitting around them make the same face, right? Because they recognize, right? They recognize that, oh my gosh, nothing could be more simple, right?
Or nothing could be more comforting, right?
Oh, yes. And the idea behind that comfort, right? We all understand it is, you go to work every day. At the end of the month, you get a paycheck. The paycheck covers all your bills. A little something extra to go to the new Heat Tavern over here on 109 when that thing cracks open, right?
When that thing heats up.
And you go to dinner and you hang out, and then the next month you get up and it's wash, rinse, repeat, right? Yeah. You get another check, you pay some bills, there's a left over. And by the way, you're in the stoppage time at this point, right? You've retired, so these checks can come in, and as long as those checks leave a little bit over at the end after you figure all the math out, everybody's happy and everybody wins, right? And for most folks, that doesn't exist. Most folks, they hand you a pile of money walking out the door, or hopefully you've accumulated a pile of money before you walk out the door, and they pat you on the back and they hand you a rocking chair or a gold watch, and they say, good luck. Yep. I hope that works for you.
Go get them.
Right? And then you got to figure that out, right? So for me, the way we've used them, the way we've always felt that they make the most sense in a lot of cases, is to essentially use some type of an immediate annuity to create a pension for yourself, right? And you mentioned it a minute ago, which was this idea of Social Security. So we've always looked at it and said, let's use these things to complement the amount of money that you're getting from Social Security, so we can figure out how much those two need to add up to, so that you can say to yourself, I get every month enough money that I can live my life.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how we love them. That's how we love them. Forgetting the deferred part for one second. This is the easiest, in my mind, the easiest understandable way to sort of say, where do these things fit in my plan?
Well, and so all you're talking about is just like at a different time or a different instance in somebody's kind of retirement, in their retirement window, right? In their retirement approach. Is that, so if somebody comes to you and says, I need money today, and I need to, then that immediate annuity, then there's a place where it potentially could fit. You say don't worry about the deferred, but all the deferred is means that I'm not going to retire today. I'm not going to need that income today. I need it 5 years from now. I need it 10 years from now. But the whole idea of the pension, the reason people love pensions is because they're guaranteed. They're guaranteed by, whether it be the municipality, they're guaranteed by the state, they're guaranteed by the federal government, they're guaranteed by the company that offers the pension. But there's some form of guarantee. Now, could the pension go bad? Could the pension go bankrupt? Yeah, there's always that possibility, just like we talked about when we mentioned the insurance company. But it's the idea of, okay, we're guaranteeing that you're going to get this payout for the rest of your life, or for a certain period of time, or both. So that guarantee piece, that's the security. That's that security blanket. And when Jay was talking about, so if you don't have a pension and you retire and you say, I have my war chest of money and I have to turn my war chest of money into an income, right? Because that's what everybody cares about. Like, I need to draw income from my war chest that will last me for the rest of my life. And who assumes the risk on that? Who has the, so if I turn around and I say, okay, I'm giving my war chest to financial planning firm, a wealth advisory firm. I don't know. There's one in Holliston, and there's two in Holliston.
Couple of them,
right?
Yep.
So, and I say, okay, here, a financial planner, wealth manager, give me an income. Give me an income. Who is assuming the risk on this? Two people are, right?
Well, you.
There's the if you were giving it to this guy, you assume the risk that you're giving it to this company, and you hope that they're going to do a good job, and they're going to invest your money wisely, and they're going to be prudent, and they're not going to promise anything or overextend anything. But then also there's the risk is taken on by the financial advisory firm, right?
That's right.
So for us, when we take somebody's money, we assume the risk of having to be able to generate income for them for over a lifetime. Where an annuity can fit into that overall financial plan is so let's say someone has $1 million, right? They've done a great job, and they've saved $1 million. And they say, okay, we want to generate income from our $1 million. But we want to diversify some risk. We want to spread out the risk. Yep. So if I take a portion of that $1 million, let's say I take 20% of it, so I take $200,000, and instead of putting all 100% or all $1 million into the hands of the financial planner to say, and where he or she assumes the risk, I'm going to take $200,000 and I'm going to put it in the hands of the insurance company. And I'm going to say, okay, insurance company, this is what I want. I want to have a 5% income, 5% dividend, or 5% income from this money for the rest of my life. Sure. Can you do this for me? And then the insurance company will say, well, as a matter of fact, we can. Here, we'll do it in the form of this. It's called a deferred annuity. When do you want to take this out? I want to start taking this potentially when I hit age 65. I'm 60 years old right now. Yep. And they say, okay, great. So now what I've done is I've put, now the insurance company, when they sell you that contract, like you said, right, it's a contract. When they sell you the contract, the contractual agreement is that we are going to pay you whatever the contract says over a period of time, and we are guaranteeing this based on our claims paying ability. So now, instead of having all 100% of your risk in with a particular financial advisor, or you may take the risk on yourself. You may say, you know what, I'm gonna do it yourselfer. I'm gonna manage my own IRA. I'm gonna manage my own investments, and I'm gonna generate my own income. So you've kind of pushed 20% of the risk off onto that insurance company. Because contractually, they're obliged.
Yeah, they're going to give you 5%. You wanted 5, they're going to give you 5, and you're telling them, when I come back to you in 5 years, not only do I want my 5, but then I'm going to start pulling money out of this, and this is what I'm going to do. And they say, great, that's fine. We can do that. We can do that. And what a lot of folks like is that gets you back to this idea of there's 3 legs to the planning stool, right? That's where it goes, right? It goes back to this idea of functionally, people really like the idea of I have diversification in my income streams coming my way in retirement.
And I've spread out the risk.
That's right. So I have Social Security. I know I can rely on that. That's going to come in as long as the walls don't crumble, at the highest echelons of the United States, right? Yeah. I have my money that I saved, right? And then I have a pension, right? 3 legs of the stool, and I get 3 sources of income coming in, and the 3 of those, you mix them all up, and that should get me to the finish line. And for most folks, where one of those legs has been taken away, this is a way for them to get back into the game and say, I still like that formula, I still like that concept, and so every month I'm going to get income from 3 different sources, and now how they do it and how much, you mentioned somebody can go and put $200,000 in that. You can make that number any number you want to make it.
Sure.
Right? So there's a whole bunch of ways to sort of calculate that and figure out how you want to do it. That's up to you and your planner to sit down and talk about it and say, what's the best way for me to approach this? But that's how you would tackle that.
So I just want to be clear. Understand that an annuity has pension-like qualities. It is not a pension, right? Nope. It's not a pension. It's not in the truest sense of a pension. So we're not saying that an annuity is a pension. We're saying that it has pension-like qualities and that there's the guarantee that's given you by the insurance company, but they're not the same thing. So don't come and say, well, when an insurance salesman says, oh, you're buying this pension, understand that it's not really a pension. It's not backed by the taxing power of a municipality or a state or the federal government.
SIPC, no pension benefit guarantee corp. Exactly. There's none of that. Yeah, that's right. It goes back to that idea of if the insurance company goes belly up, there's a risk. There's a risk that you don't get your money, right? You don't get your money. So you're managing that risk by having Social Security, have your money someplace else. You're obviously diversifying, like we've always discussed and advised, but you same risks, different risks, but same idea that your money is at risk. You could lose money.
Right. So let's talk about. Okay. So when the idea of deferred annuities. So deferred annuities are kind of they're the more. They're much more popular. They're used much more widely in the industry. There's probably about 10 different kind of categories of deferred annuities, but 2 of the ones that probably are the most kind of renowned are your idea of a variable annuity or a fixed annuity, right? So, and fixed can kind of come in a couple different flavors, but just understand that and you'll again, if you do your investigation or someone approaches you and wants to sell you an annuity, these are some of the concepts. So first, we'll talk about the variable annuity. The variable annuity, the word variable is the operational word because variable annuities have an investment component that is in the stock market. Now, meaning that if you buy a variable annuity, your money is going to go into the stock market. It's going to be invested in the stock market in things that are similar to mutual funds, but not exactly mutual funds.
That's right.
They are
They're the insurance company version of a mutual fund.
Well, yeah, that's it. So inside that annuity, there's these mutual fund type things that are managed identically to the way a particular mutual fund. So it could be we'll use an example, Franklin Templeton. It could be the Franklin Templeton Income Fund, but it's just kind of a different little flavor of it, but it's still managed and run the same way.
Walks like a duck, talks like a duck, all the same exact thing, but same idea.
So the idea of a variable annuity means you're putting your money into the stock market, and you can be as aggressive or as risk averse as you can as with any investment, but it's inside the annuity. So once the money goes in, it's inside this annuity and it's invested in the stock market, and you can pick and choose and you could be advised, and there's all different types of, depending upon the company and depending upon the particular annuity, are your different types of investment options.
That's right.
Understand, as with any stock market investment, you run stock market risk, and the risk is, theoretically, your account value could go to zero, right? That's if
you
the
could
stock,
lose, you
could lose it all. And as with any stock market investment, there's the potential you could potentially gain more money because you're assuming more risk, as if you invested outside in the stock market somewhere else. Now, the idea of the variable annuity the whole concept of it is that, okay, so if I'm going to, and it's deferred, right? Meaning that I'm not going to start using this money right now. So I want to use it later on. So if I give $200,000 and if I bury $200,000 in the bank, or sorry, in the backyard, if I bury it in the backyard,
same thing.
10 years from now, that $200,000 is not going to be worth the same because of, if you watched last week's show,
inflation, my friend.
Because of inflation, right? So $200,000 because its value is going to deflate, right? So in the case of why would I put money into an annuity in this case is because I want that $200,000 to grow. So when I do go draw off that annuity, down like 5 years or 10 years, whatever my time, my estimated time is that I'm going to be drawing off a bigger number. And I've done this because I've taken some risk and I've invested that money in the stock market.
Portfolio's grown. You've done well. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Or it hasn't. And on the other side, if I have risk, that $200,000 may not be $200,000.
That's right.
So, and with the idea, and so that's the variable annuity. In the idea of a fixed annuity, there's essentially two different kinds. There's the fixed annuity, which means that it's deferred. So an insurance company is going to say, okay, this fixed annuity is going to pay you 3% per year for the next 10 years. And you say, okay, I look at that and I say, and this percentage is based on.
That's as simple math as you're going to find. Yep.
Yeah, and it's based on what the going interest rate and what the insurance company can afford to pay. So if the insurance company says, well, this is what we can afford on, and again, remember, they're taking that money and they're investing it. This is how they're going to take that money and buy 30-year treasuries, and they're going to buy in order to be able to kind of meet that obligation. So they say, all right, we're going to guarantee you 3% for the next 10 years. You say, well, okay, that's pretty good. And usually these fixed annuities are for a time period. So 5-year annuity, 7-year annuity, 10-year annuity, right?
Yep. Can't get your money back.
Right.
Yep.
And then at any time during that period, you can always annuitize, right? You can annuitize, and meaning that you can give the company the money, and then that money vanishes, and then in return they give you your guaranteed income. And then the other type of fixed annuity is one that is tied, and this is it's a little tricky to kind of understand. It's tied to a stock market index or some form of stock market like investment. Usually it's the S&P 500. It could be the
international index. That's right.
So now it's not necessarily invested in that index, but the performance of the ability to earn money in that fixed annuity is based on the performance of the index. And there's a laundry list of different kind of formulas that you can apply to your annuity in order to try and get. But the bottom line is this. In the fixed annuity, you're guaranteed that your account value will never go down. So if you invest $200,000, your account value will never show south of $200,000.
That's right.
It'll never go south of that. But on the other side, based on the performance of said index, let's say the index does super well, there's going to be a limit. There's going to be a cap on your ability to earn. So what the insurance company does is say, okay, look, we're going to promise you that you're never going to lose any money, but at the same time, we have to make money on this. So if the market takes off like gangbusters, we can't afford to give you a 10% return. We can afford to give you maybe 5 or maybe 6%, but we can't afford to give you 10. So so you're kind of give and take, and you say, okay, I'm not going to lose any money. I'm guaranteed to never lose any money, but I'm also not going to.
But I'm not going to participate in the complete upside of the market.
Exactly.
I'm going to get some southern number of whatever the market's doing.
Right. So that's your variable and fixed. So the fixed is I'm never going to lose any money. I'm going to have some gains, but they potentially could be not as good as what I could get on the variable side.
That's right. But I'll sleep better.
But on the variable side, it's like, look, we're going to give you potential gains. However, you run the risk that it could go south. And then, the whole idea of, well, over time you should invest in the market, blah blah blah. But bottom line is one assumes more risk than the other, and by assuming more risk, you have the potential to have a greater upside. Now, here's where it gets fun. Both of these type of annuities. I mean, I'm having fun. Are you?
It's exciting.
Yeah, both of these type of annuities have, and this is kind of like in the last probably 10, 15 years, is they've had these living income benefit riders.
All right, so let's do this. So we're getting close to the end. And I think that the living income benefit rider
is the most fascinating thing you've ever
heard. It is,
but
you know what? I think it warrants its own show. It warrants its own show. And I'll tell you why. Because it gets we've given a phenomenal base of knowledge. Okay, I'm going to go on that. I'm going to say we've given the greatest base of knowledge that's ever been given.
We'd like to hear your feedback
of any base of knowledge ever, right? And there's no giggling from the UN General Assembly. We've given the greatest base knowledge in the history
Christian
of all.
Has 14 pages of notes over there.
All of insurance, of the entire insurance industry. So let's close it out there, because I think this other piece of it not only is critical to understand, but I think it's an excellent planning tool.
Tune in next time to find out what happens to our Caped Crusaders.
So you can get back on the road now. So you can put the car back on the highway, and we'll talk in a little bit more detail. This might even be one of those, like, get somebody else to take the kids to soccer next week, so you can really focus in on the detail of the guaranteed withdrawal benefit rider. It's fascinating stuff, but I think it's something that you want to hear about because it presents some real planning opportunities. That's my suggestion.
You know what? I'm going to go with your suggestion.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with your suggestion. All right, so
against legal advice?
No. You should have listened to my lawyer.
Good stuff.
All right, so we'll be back next week to talk about annuities part 2 with Jay Marsden. And Jay Marsden, who is also an attorney by trade, represents the law portion of Money in the Law.
Oh yeah.
Which is just as big.
Which is a little underrepresented today, but that's all right.
You know what?
But
it happens. He's gonna. It all comes out in the wash.
Yeah.
So Jay Marsden, he's from the Marsden Law Group. I'm John Drohan from Main Effort Financial. You can reach both of us on moneyinthelaw.net. Send us an email. If you have any questions, if you have any comments you'd like us to bring up on the show, by all means, you can connect with us there. Hollis and Cable Access TV, thank you for being here. And thank you for joining us today on MyFM 101.3 WMRC First Class Radio.
Have a great weekend.
This is Money in the Law. We'll see you next week.